Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I am Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist, and today's video is going to be very different than my normal. I'm coming at you completely barefaced to show you my 1 month post-op results and to talk a little bit about what I had done. And I'll be honest, this is very much out of my comfort zone. Believe it or not, I'm actually a very private person, and so it's hard for me to share little bits of my personal life and things I choose for myself. But this is a beauty channel, and I know I had a lot of questions, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I knew I wanted to be an open book with you guys on my experience and my results. So if you have any questions, I can help you guys. So this video is gonna be all about my upper eye bleph, and I'm gonna share with you guys all the nitty gritty. If you notice something different about me, this is why. So if you wanna check out my experience, keep watching, and thank you guys for being here. All right, friends, so like I said, this is very different. I want to make sure I get all of your questions answered. Obviously, I show my face on here a lot. This is one of the reasons why I decided to finally take the plunge and do a surgery to fix my upper eyelids. It is something obviously I'm not going to be able to hide from you guys. I have not been wanting to do eyeshadow videos for quite some time due to how much worse they had gotten over this past year. I know some of you guys will be able to tell, so I wanted to be completely upfront and honest with you about how the procedure was, why I did it, and all of the things. So I am exactly 1 month today post. So it has been 1 month since I had my surgery. I only did my upper eyelids. You can kind of see I have scarring, obviously, but I am very happy with the results so far. I still have sutures. You can see like little bumps that have not fully dissolved yet, but I wanted to kind of share with you guys my progress. So a little bit about why I chose to. If you've been watching me for a while, you know you probably understand that it was my biggest insecurity. I was always talking about my very hooded, very creepy eyelids. What you might have not realized was that I have been doing eyeshadow videos for 8 years with my brows, which I can't fully like lift them after my surgery like I used to, but I've been fully doing eyeshadow tutorials with my brows raised for 8 years in order for me to first be able to see, and second of all, to flatten out the extra skin I had personally. Now, I know that is, number one, a genetic thing. There's not a whole lot you can do. You guys probably have seen I have used every eye cream under the sun trying to lift that skin. And I have found some that did help and let me see a visible difference. But then in this last year, I developed eczema really bad on my eyelids, and I wasn't able to use that anymore. I had visibly one eyelid that got so much worse, and you guys probably didn't notice because I wouldn't show that side as much as my other side. Little tips and tricks. I'm spilling all my secrets. Some of you might have noticed, some of you might have not, but I was so insecure. I was always trying to hide the fact that one of my eyelids was so much lower than the other. And so I am thrilled already because it's so much lifted. You can tell I am one of those types of people that have always been like, I'm going to do everything in my power, use every cream, device, anything on the face of the earth before I'm going to go with surgical intervention. I know that's a last resort, but I also, with my science background, I know skincare can only do so much, and there's certain things that skincare cannot fix, and that is extra skin. And I had genetically had a lot of, I do also blame myself for years and I'm talking years. Like, you guys know my story with having melanoma. I did it to myself. Years of tanning beds. You know those little goggle things you're supposed to wear? I wouldn't wear them. So a lot of UV radiation damage, which is the number one factor of aging yourself faster. Like, it's UV. And I was straight up like bombarding my eyelids with that for years of tanning beds. So that, coupled with genetics and age, because obviously I'm losing a lot of collagen, elastin, all of those things that keep that skin tight. I mean, I'm 42, to put things in perspective. I knew when I started my business back when I was in my 30s that was already an issue for me. That was the number one place I was aging, was my eyelids were very creepy in my 30s. So probably due to my own damage, genetics, but obviously I did a lot to mitigate that over my years of diligent skincare. Without that, I would have needed it probably much sooner if it was really an issue for me. I'll be honest, I don't know if I would have done it at this point if I wasn't doing makeup tutorials for a living. But that's just me personally. I probably would have pushed it as far as possible because I just didn't want to have to do surgery unless I really needed to. So those are kind of my thoughts. Really, the kicker, eczema. Eczema was my downfall. If you've ever had an eczema breakout, you know how much texture and how much inflammation it causes. And inflammation is the number one thing that's going to degrade your collagen faster. I could just tell as soon as I would get breakouts on this eyelid all the way up here and this eyelid right here. Same spot, both places. Now I'm having one right here, but it's not nearly as visible as it used to be because it would cause my entire eyelid to peel and look so much more highly textured. I would not be able to film at all. It just looked so bad. Obviously, I'm a little bit more critical because my face is always in the camera. It was something that was hurting my business creatively because I didn't want to create content when it was happening. Obviously, you can't cover flaking red inflamed skin. Anyone who has eczema understands. There's so much I can't do. When it was on my face, I could cover it with Seint, no problem. It went over it like great. But when it was on my eyelid, it would cause my entire eye to swell and droop far worse than normal. So I will insert pictures as I'm talking to kind of explain like what was actually going on behind the scenes for the past year that I just did not talk about publicly because, again, I'm kind of private in that way. I didn't need a pity party that like, oh, I can't film because look at my eyes. Like, it wasn't like that, but it was something that was hurting my ability to want to work, if that makes sense. Making it impossible for me to do eyeshadow tutorials, much less want to put my face in front of a camera. That's a little bit about why I chose to finally do it. Lately, it's just been worse, and it got steadily worse over the past year. And me and one of my friends was talking about it. We both wanted it done. And so I know she's scheduled for next week. I saw it's like the number one most trending surgery in the US for women my age. And I understand why. This is in no means like me encouraging anyone to do this. I think it's a very personal decision. But I will say, if this is something that has been something you've been wanting to do for a very long time, like I have for like 10 years, I knew I would eventually do it. It was not hard. It was way easier than I expected, minus the 3 weeks of being really bruised. So I'm going to share a little bit about what I looked like. So if you are squeamish in any way, I would stop watching. Like if you don't want to see what exactly I look like pre and post surgery, I will spare you. Turn off the video because I wanted to show you guys exactly what my recovery looked like so that you understand a little bit more, because I know I was extremely nervous to do it, not because of the procedure, because of the recovery and obviously with what I do for a living. So most of you probably didn't notice that I didn't go MIA. I filmed content for months in advance so that I could do this because I didn't know how long my recovery would be. And I'm extremely happy that a month out, it already looks this good, like extremely happy. So I will answer a few questions. I know pricing is definitely going to change depending on where you are in the US. I was quoted a little over $3,500. I'm in the Midwest. If you want to know details of like who my surgeon was and all of that, you can definitely just email me questions. Sarah@thecontouredchemist.com. I will answer all that, especially if you're local, because I did really like my surgeon. But I would say I even got quoted for an upper and lower Bleph. I decided not to do that at this time. Yes, my under eye skin bothers me, but enough to go through a double, almost like a double. It probably would have been smarter to get it at the same time, but I just wasn't ready for that yet. That would have been double the price. So just FYI, if you're thinking of doing both at the same time. Second question I usually get is like, are you gonna be put out? So my friend is having a surgery with a different surgeon. She is staying awake during the procedure. It is dependent upon the surgeon. I've had family that have also gotten this done that have also stayed awake. That is so that you can open and close your eyes so they don't take too much and you not be able to fully close your eye. I personally wanted to be put completely under. It would make me feel more comfortable. I did not want to have any memory of a surgeon. Like, I didn't want to have any memory of the surgery. Not that I think you do. I just didn't want to deal with that. So I was completely put under. It was a very short procedure, like 30 minutes. In fact, I went in early. I was in and out before I was even supposed to be in surgery, like so quick. Immediately went home. It was almost just like twilight, like I was barely put asleep. I woke up feeling perfectly fine. Like, I've had a lot of surgeries in the past for different reasons, like an appendectomy, different things like that. And I woke up feeling fantastic. I was like, it's over, like felt great. I felt a little bit of pain, not much at all, like way less than I expected. It was a jump scare when I looked at my face for the first time. I will be honest. I was like, wow. Mostly because my entire face was so dehydrated. My under eyes looked like I was 100 years old. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh. But besides that, I felt so much better than I looked. I was pretty shocked. In fact, the entire first 2 weeks, I felt fantastic. I just looked scared. I never took anything more than Tylenol for the pain. In fact, I didn't really need it. I mainly used it for inflammation. I had watched others on social media and their like recovery process, and my biggest fear was being swollen because I had seen a creator that was swollen, really swollen. And she had a both upper and lower, but she was really swollen for like 6 weeks. And that was my biggest fear. So I came home from the hospital and I immediately started icing. So I got big bags of frozen peas, put them in a big Ziploc, and I iced 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off for the first 24 hours. And it made because you're immediately swollen when you're done. I mean, there's a lot of blood vessels in your eye. So the bruising is like crazy bad. It's just because like there's no getting around that. I personally, I've seen on the internet where people have been prescribed or taken different things. My doctor did not tell me to take anything before. Like, I had to make sure I didn't take anything that would thin my blood. But there was nothing to minimize bruising that he recommended. So I just did what the doctor recommended. Yes, there are hacks on the internet, but studies have shown that they're not proven to work. So why risk it? So I did not take anything to minimize anything. Ice is always, ice is always going to minimize swelling and inflammation. And so will something like Tylenol. So I was just very diligent and I took that like clockwork. and I iced like crazy. And then the next day, I still iced. I just didn't do it as often. So I just kind of played a lot of YouTube in the background and I just had ice on my face for a good day. Also, the main thing I think that really helped with inflammation was a wedge pillow. I had seen somebody talk about a wedge pillow so that you're supposed to sleep elevated. I went ahead and bought one on Amazon, and I'll be honest, I am not going to quit using it. Because now I don't wake up puffy at all. So I've got my wedge pillow, then I've got my Sleep and Glow pillow. And it's like my new favorite combination. I don't think I'm ever gonna go back. In fact, my husband tried to steal my wedge pillow the other day, and I was like, buy your own, I need this. So the wedge pillow helped so much. It took a little getting used to, but I will say that and lots of ice is my two biggest recommendations, just like crazy. So I did have internal sutures, which is why you can see some of these little bumps right here. These are still sutures that haven't dissolved. I have like a big one right there. This right here that kind of creates a divot, but I just had my last post-op for now, and they said that I'm healing really well because a lot of people's scars are very like red or blue or purple and very visible. And mine are already flesh toned, which I'm very happy about, because my biggest obstacle was that I was not allowed to wear makeup for 1 month on my eyelids. And for me, I don't think I realized that. So ask questions in your consultation. I've done a lot of research on the internet, which we know is not always, reliable. I had seen as little as a week. I'd seen 3 days after your sutures come out, and I'd seen 2 weeks. I'd never seen anywhere that said a month. Mine was a month. I could wear makeup everywhere else. I was not supposed to put anything on my eyelids for a month. So I'm finally done. And I will say, really hard for me because my bruising on one eye, as you can probably tell from the picture, was real bad. Now this was my bad eye where like the skin was like all the way to my lash line. So he had to take off a lot more, and this eyelid was purple for 3 weeks. 3 weeks to the day, so dark purple. And I was like, is it ever gonna fade? This one looked normal for a full week before this one even started to fade on my lid. I'll share all of the photos so you guys can see my progression, but it looked bad, but it was not painful. Now I'm finally at the point where I can do massage. So I just had my post-op, and my biggest thing, I'm using the Prequel Scar Stick, and it's big on now I have to massage. So internal sutures versus external. I went back thinking I was having my stitches out. You guys, this is embarrassing. They didn't explain to me, and I was, coming out of anesthesia. They didn't explain to me my sutures at all. I had tape right here and right here. I didn't even know what that was. I was trying to take it off, and then I groggily. My eyes were a little blurry, but honestly, I could see so much better than I expected to. I was expecting to not be able to see for 24 to 48 hours. I could see. It was just a little blurry at times. So then when I caught a glimpse of myself in the bathroom mirror, I could see this like something shiny. Yeah, it was sutures it was the string coming from the corner of my eye, and it was taped across my forehead on both sides. And those did not want to stay taped, and they kept falling out and like tickling me. And then I had another one on each side taped. So that's what the tape was. I did not realize my sutures were internal because no one told me. I just thought it was clear and I couldn't see them. And then my first post-op, they said, oh, well, he's doing a new method. No one explained it to me. So they did not have to like cut and pull out each suture. And she said it was so much better because it's typically a little painful. All she had to do was clip the strings that were hanging off on both ends. And that was it. So that was a good thing, but now I do have to deal with the fact that some of these sutures are not dissolved under the skin. And I just found out that I had to go back in 4 to 6 months, and I'm doing this massage, trying to get them to dissolve, and they should be dissolved by 6 months. And if they're not, that's when an intervention might have to come into play. I think it'll be fine based on how quickly I can feel that some of the big ones are already like going away. I'm not too worried. I'm just ready to get these like bumps that kind of are sticking out. Like, I'm just ready for those to go flat. So I can actually enjoy being able to see clearly and to make my eyeshadow tutorials a little bit easier, at least on me. A lot less blending, less creasing as well. I can fully do skincare, sunscreen now on my eyes. I am gonna have to be very diligent with sunscreen. If you've ever had a scar that turned weird because it got too much sun exposure and they turn like purple, yeah, we don't want that. So sunscreen on the eyelids, which I always do anyway. Massage it with eye cream, non-retinol, obviously. And then I've been using that Prequel scar stick, which is a silicone scar stick to help with scarring. And it also aids in kind of like that manual massage that you do after you have a surgery. So I bought that, I bought the pillow, and I bought lots of peas. I think that's it. I didn't find anything really to get rid of my bruising sooner. Unfortunately, that was the first question I asked at my first post-op. I will tell you, my 100%, I tried a bunch of methods to cover the bruises, and these two and this brush were my top picks. So this one is from the Nikki LaRose, like the volume 2 collection. This is her N23. You can tell it's got a lot of concealer on it. So I would use this literally just where I had bruising. The Sarah Creel Face Flex and the NARS Soft Matte Concealer were so easy and covered with very little product. Those two kind of saved me. That, wearing lots of hats. I also went in a restaurant fully wearing sunglasses because my son had a football tournament and I didn't want to miss it. So sunglasses are your friend. Follow the surgeon's instructions. They obviously know. The reason why, in case you're wondering about makeup, like you don't want to risk infection. So there was eye cream. Ointment is the word I was thinking of. Like a petrolatum based ointment with an antibiotic in it that you put on like the first week, and then you don't have to use that anymore. And I also was on an antibiotic for infection, but you want to avoid makeup. Like our makeup's probably not the most sanitary thing. I'm sure it was just like an extra precaution. I can't imagine what it would be like to get an infection in your sutures. Like I can't, like that would not be worth the risk to me. So, you know, it was hard, but I got through it. Right. Now that I've gotten a full month under my belt, I will say I am very happy I did it. I'm very happy with the results. I can look at my eyes and actually see my full lid, which I don't think I've been able to do since my 20s, to be honest, maybe even before that. There was very little pain. The recovery sucks. I mean, it's not painful, but it's hard to shut yourself in and not go out or not be able to cover it. So I'd say talk to the surgeon and really like find out for sure. I don't know if it's because internal versus external suture thing. That's something you would have to ask the surgeon. But there you go. If you were curious why my eyes looked different, I appreciate you guys. I love you all. And if you have any questions about anything I forgot to mention or cover, just either drop it in the comments, or if you don't want to comment, just email me. I'd be happy to help you guys out because, again, I want to be an open book. It's not like I'm saying surgery is bad. It's not. It's not something to take lightly either, in my opinion. And I feel like it does need a lot of thought. You got to research it yourself. You got to decide if it's the right decision for you, not just because everyone's doing it or it's trendy or whatever the case may be. It's a very personal decision. So I'm hoping it helps me feel a little bit more confident to do more videos for you guys. And I am actually getting really excited. I feel like eyeshadow's making a huge comeback, and for once in a really long time, I'm excited to put on eyeshadow. It's been a while. So I hope you guys are ready for a lot of eyeshadow tutorials. I've got some brand new palettes I haven't even opened yet because I haven't been able to try them, because y'all know I went a little crazy at the Sephora sale. So we got some new eyeshadow. You guys let me know what you want to see. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys so much. See you next week.